With Modern Warfare 2's Remastered campaign releasing yesterday, you may have been looking for a trip down memory lane. I know that's exactly what I did when I finished up yesterday's video, had some dinner, then I just came back, sat down, and relived one of my favorite narratives from my high school years. But while Modern Warfare 2 offered quite a lot of cool things to play around with back in its prime, and in the time that it came out, even in just campaign in the way of Easter eggs, there's a handful more of things that were added for just this remaster. And this isn't the first time that Call of Duty has seen a remaster change some things up and add some twists for those that may have played through the stories already. They make sense whenever you play them back and already know what's going to happen, but for those that haven't seen them, they may just be arbitrary Easter eggs. But the weight is not lost on those that understand it. Today I want to discuss with you 4 major Easter eggs added to either tie together the overarching narrative of the Modern Warfare universe, or that are just some cool hidden items and secret trophies that you can achieve. So that said, as we go along, what do you think of this remaster? No multiplayer aside, I thought it was phenomenal to relive the story in 4K with today's hardware, but I'd love to know your thoughts. As well, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare and Warzone content on a daily basis, and who knows, maybe even some more cool Modern Warfare 2 Remastered campaign content still to come. That said, let's get into it. Let's begin with 2 secret achievements, trophies, whatever you want to call them, and whatever platform you may be on by the time this is live for all players as time passes. Curiously enough, both these secret trophies are available in the very first mission of the campaign, SSDD. This is likely the most relaxed you'll be the entire campaign, so while you're air quote training in a sense, take a little bit of time to look around. You could find the hidden intel item out there, you could play around with some of the weapons lying around at the range, or you could tackle 2 achievements right out of the gate. The first of which is a fun little Easter egg, one that is really just for the laughs. To get this achievement, you're going to need to shoot 3 clowns downrange in various locations around the level. First, you'll need to find the Barrett 50 cal over in the actual range, because you can't see these clowns with anything that isn't scoped. Anything that has just standard iron sights doesn't actually showcase far enough. This will be on the table next to the spotter looking down range at the actual gun range. Once you pick it up, you may notice that there's only 3 shots in the magazine and no replacements around, so you'll need to make sure that those 3 shots count because you have to shoot 3 clowns. The first one you can find by looking out in the same direction as that spotter you're by, and once you spot him, fire and you'll see an explosion of colored dust. A fair note is that you don't need a lead or account for bullet drop, you just have to shoot straight and you'll hit the targets for all of these. So the next one can be found up above in the watchtower to the left of the level, above the woodwork and generator, looking out towards the hangars. Up there you'll find another spotter looking out in the distance, and once you position yourself with him, scope in, you'll see a clown up on top of the one hangar. Shoot him and that's 2 out of 3. The last one is located near the far end bunker looking out towards the airfield tarmac. The spotter will be up above, but you can take the shot from down below. Just look downrange and you'll see the clown pop up on a bulldozer in the distance. Shoot him and that's 3 out of 3, and you'll net yourself the Clown in Training trophy, listed as ultra rare and with a description of the US Army Rangers ain't no place for clowns. Now, that one was just for fun, but the next achievement is actually an Easter egg we'll mention that has some place in the narrative. If you remember back to Modern Warfare Remastered, you had the opportunity to get the Time Paradox achievement when in Pripyat in 1 shot, 1 kill. In that mission, you're tasked with assassinating Zakhaev, but while your shot ultimately doesn't change the outcome of the mission, what you can do is target the one Jeep in the background and take out a young Makarov, thus creating the Time Paradox and altering the future, since with Makarov dead, the story of Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 cannot unfold. The next achievement is kind of in the same vein here. I don't think it's really much of a spoiler alert after 11 years to say that Shepard isn't a guy you should trust. For the sake of any new players out there watching for the first time, we can leave it at that, but for those that know, well, of course you know. But in the same vein as 1 shot, 1 kill's alteration, you can alter the future once again in Modern Warfare 2 Remastered's campaign by shooting and killing Shepard. This can be done in the pit where you're running the gauntlet of targets to determine your recommended difficulty of the campaign in, again, the starting level of SSDD. After you're told to swap to your secondary weapon and then your primary, you'll then enter into the pit and the gate will open up. Once that gate is open, weapons are hot, meaning that if you were to, say, aim at a certain General Shepard and accidentally fire, in-game his character would die. If you do this, you're promptly met with the friendly fire will not be tolerated black screen, and it will restart you at the very beginning of that gauntlet. But you'll also receive the Precognitive Paranoia achievement and trophy. I'm a big fan of this one. Admittedly, I love the idea of air quotes altering the history of things, and with the insight that you may have if you've played the campaign through before, it's definitely crossed your mind where you said, well, what if we just take him out now? because you see him a couple of times in the campaign, so instead of having to live out that betrayal and the arc that we knew for a decade, it's kind of cool to see that there is the built-in possibility, though it doesn't actually alter the gameplay sequence at all. It's a nice little Easter egg achievement, I think. Another Easter egg that has some major implications comes on the infamous No Russian. No Russian made headlines back in the day because it was such a grotesque display of absolute horror. It was seen by some as going way too far, when sure, yes, it was an incredibly dark mission, but it set up the entire narrative. The Makarov used an undercover plant as the fall man for a national tragedy, sparking the flame for a coming war with an all-clear signal at who was responsible. The Americans, or so the world thought. But in Modern Warfare 2's Remastered campaign, we get a little Easter egg that was not in the original because it hadn't been fully written yet at the time. But we have an Easter egg that foreshadows the future now with this one. The entire opening sequence is the same. You exit the elevator, and Makarov and his men, perhaps if you decide to pull the trigger, mow down the civilian populace in Zakhaev International Airport. All things go exactly how you remember them up until the first main checkpoint. Once you reach that checkpoint shortly after the top of the main staircase, that's where the change sets in. Now, if you check this out for yourself, you'll need to be quick to actually see it in action. Otherwise, you'll end up like my first couple of times trying to grab footage of it, in which the Easter egg is just there on the ground and not actually something that walks towards you. But if you end up turning around and you're quick enough to see it in motion, head back down to that main entrance that you came in and started the level at in the security areas, and you'll see a man stumble towards you and then collapse. Upon checking who it is, you see that it's Yuri, former right-hand man of Makarov, who we later find out in Modern Warfare 3 aids our heroes in tracking down Makarov and is ultimately killed just before we're able to defeat Makarov, and his sacrifice is actually what allows Price to take Makarov out. The sequence that we now see in Modern Warfare 2's Remastered campaign is exactly the flashback sequence that we see in Modern Warfare 3, where Yuri is outed by Makarov right before they go in with No Russian. In the parking lot right before that service entrance, Makarov proclaims that he was his friend, his ally, and his betrayer, and that what happened that day will change the world forever and no one will be able to stop him. We then have a sequence where the player can shoot at Makarov once he crawls in and gets to the level that they're at after being shot, but is unable to hit anybody, and the mission proceeds as it did in Modern Warfare 2's campaign. But it was an interesting tie-in born in Modern Warfare 3 that's now visible in real time in the remastered Modern Warfare 2 campaign. Finding Yuri, however, does not allow the player to unlock a challenge of any sort or doesn't alter the history, but is just an interesting crossover that we now finally see in real time. The final Easter egg I want to discuss with you goes all the way back to the classic Golden Desert Eagle first seen in Call of Duty 4 and is a bit of a tribute to that, and is available in one level from Modern Warfare 2's Remastered campaign. In the mission of their own accord, your main objective for that is basically to clear out the LZ by the Washington Monument, but you start the mission down in a makeshift hospital underneath the National Mall. There's a couple of different areas that you can go into that are just either empty storage corridors or they're makeshift rooms for the injured being treated. Though the final room to the left, right before you exit that underground bunker, is one storage corridor that has some stuff stacked up, but you can actually get behind that. Tucked away in that little corner is a teddy bear with a desert eagle sitting on top of it. Once you pick it up, you'll notice that it's actually a Golden Desert Eagle. This being a callback to, of course, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare's original Golden Desert Eagle. If my memory serves me, a Golden Desert Eagle was only available via modding in Modern Warfare 2, but it's a little tribute back to the classic, of course, and is usable on this mission. You can get some really cool inspect animation, screenshots, and all that kind of stuff. The animation itself is pretty cool, but it's a nice little Easter egg that, again, is just a little functional gameplay change you can use. Is it as handy as having another primary weapon as your secondary? Probably not, but it looks pretty dang good when you're clearing out Washington, D.C. Another thing to note about the Deagle actually is the fact that it only has 21 rounds, which to my knowledge, there also is no ability to refill that. You can't pick up the pistol ammo, but you may be able to at the refill station. Off the top of my head, I don't know if that's actually the case. Didn't test it out personally, but just be conscious of that. You're limited not only just in your range, but also your engagements as well, and of course, the quantity of those engagements. But it's still an awesome Easter egg, no less, and it's going to round out this video. So that said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. That's all of the Easter eggs here. Honestly, I really enjoyed these ones, especially the ones that are the callbacks and the tie-ins with Modern Warfare 3 and also later on in the Modern Warfare 2 campaign. I love the fact that now we have a time paradox sort of achievement for Shepard now in this one, whereas before it was Makarov. I love the fact that Yuri was tied in here within No Russian. Honestly, I thought they did a really good job with these with the gravity of them, but also being something that doesn't detract too much from the original campaign. So that said, let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Which of these is your favorite Easter egg that we've covered here? Maybe you found one that isn't on this, and if so, feel free to let me know your thoughts on what that may be. I'd love to take a look at it. I'm sure others would as well, but let me know your thoughts on your favorite one down there in the comment section down below. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff regarding Modern Warfare, Warzone, and Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. We got you covered here on the channel, so if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected from outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. Well said and out of the way, thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.